One deal changes everything. One punch almost destroys it all. And one quiet decision at the end proves that Landman was never just about oil. It was about who survives when power, money, and family collide. The Season 2 finale doesn't explode, it tightens the noose. And by the final minutes, every character is standing on a different side of the line. The Landman Season 2 finale opens with a simple truth that hits harder than any gunshot or explosion. Mtex is finished. Not wounded. Not struggling. Finished. For most of the season, Mtex felt untouchable. A massive oil operation backed by money, politics, and fear. But in episode 10, that illusion finally collapses. Monty is gone, the offshore project is bleeding cash, and Cammy is left holding a company that no longer believes in itself. This is where Tommy's arc reaches its sharpest turn. Tommy is no longer fighting to survive inside Mtex. He's already walked away from it, mentally and emotionally. What matters now is pride. He doesn't want another job. He doesn't want safety. He wants to prove that he can still win on his own terms, one last time. Instead of running from the wreckage, Tommy uses it. He knows something no one else does. Cooper's wells are producing. Real money. Real oil. While executives argue over failing fields and sinking investments, the future is quietly pumping out of the ground. And Tommy builds his next move on that fact. The brilliance of the finale is how calm this transition feels. There is no big announcement. No dramatic speech. Just quiet meetings, careful words, and one very dangerous handshake. Galeno enters the story again, not as a threat, but as an opportunity. A gangster with cash, patience, and expectations. Tommy doesn't try to scare him. He doesn't beg him. He tells him the truth. Mtex is dying, and staying loyal to it means losing everything. What Tommy offers instead is certainty. 70% of Galeno's initial investment, guaranteed. Equal partnership moving forward. No dreams. No hype. Just numbers. And Galeno listens. This is where the show reminds us what Landman really is. It's not about drilling. It's about confidence. About knowing when to walk away and when to bet everything. Tommy doesn't sell oil, he sells belief. And Galeno buys it. Behind the scenes, Nate confirms what Tommy already knows. Monty never planned for Mtex to survive without him. The company was built around one man's control, and without it, it must be sold. Nate refuses Cammy's offer to become interim president because he understands something crucial. Staying would mean being crushed by the collapse. That decision seals Mtex's fate. But Tommy isn't just burning bridges. He's building something new in the ashes. The finale reveals the creation of a new company, CTT Oil Exploration and Cattle, a name so absurd it feels like a joke. But that's the point. Tommy hasn't even formed an LLC yet. He writes checks under a ridiculous name because he's moving faster than the system. Faster than the law. Faster than the people who think they still control him. CTT stands for Cooper, Tommy, Thomas. Family. Blood. Trust. Tommy gathers everyone who matters at Cooper's dig site and lays out the structure of the future. Cooper becomes president. Tommy takes the role of senior vice president. Rebecca handles operations and law. Nate controls the money. Dale explores. Ariana runs the office. TL and Cheyenne oversee the digging. It feels almost hopeful. But there's a shadow hanging over it all. Because this new beginning is funded by cartel money. Because Galeno doesn't invest, he owns. And because when a company is born this fast, it doesn't grow roots, it grows enemies. By the end of this section of the finale, the message is clear. Mtex is dead. CTT is alive. And Tommy has just stepped into the most dangerous chapter of his life. Just when it seems like Tommy is finally in control, the season reminds us that Landman thrives on chaos. Cooper's confrontation with Ariana's attacker is the kind of moment that lingers, long after the screen goes dark. It's violent, shocking, and morally complicated, the perfect storm to test loyalty, justice, and the fragility of reputation in West Texas. Cooper doesn't just defend Ariana. He punishes the man with a ferocity that surprises even himself. Each blow isn't just anger, it's a statement. This is a world where threats are not tolerated, and consequences are immediate. Yet the brutality has consequences. The attacker dies later in the hospital, and suddenly Cooper is the center of a legal firestorm. Even in a state where rough justice is expected, the optics are terrible for someone tied to a major pipeline supplier. Questions swirl around him. Did he go too far? Could this ruin his career? Or worse, his freedom? Enter Rebecca. She's not just the lawyer who knows the players. She's the one who thrives on conflict. After weeks of flirtation with Charlie and observation of the company's inner workings, she flips into her trademark shark mode. The civil suits, the police investigations, the strategic pressure. It's all part of her carefully controlled plan. She immediately sets out to investigate every shooting involving law enforcement, showing why no one in Landman can underestimate her. Tommy's approach, in contrast, is practical and tactical. He calls Walt for guidance, gathers intelligence, and navigates the bureaucratic and legal minefield with the precision of a seasoned operator. There's no panic. There's no grandstanding. Just a methodical dismantling of risk. He understands that in this world, perception is reality. By carefully reconstructing the chain of events, highlighting facts over assumptions, and leveraging alliances, he ensures Cooper's actions are viewed in context. Not as unprovoked violence, but as defense against an imminent threat. The tension in this arc is electric. On one side, there's Cooper, whose reputation is on the line, whose future teeters on the decisions of a few key individuals. On the other, there's Rebecca, whose legal prowess can make or break careers. And between them is Tommy, orchestrating the resolution with subtle genius. The narrative plays out like a chess game. Every move is calculated, every reaction anticipated, and every risk mitigated, or at least minimized. The resolution is as clever as it is satisfying. It turns out the man didn't die from Cooper's attack, but from a pre-existing heart condition, a twist that underscores the unpredictability of life in Landman. In Texas, with the laws, culture, and jury perceptions stacked in certain ways, the court has little chance of siding against someone defending another person's life. Cooper is exonerated. The legal storm passes, leaving him unscathed but profoundly changed. It's a reminder that violence leaves marks even when it doesn't leave scars. Meanwhile, the events surrounding this assault ripple through the relationships at CTT. Rebecca proves her worth, not just as a lawyer, but as an indispensable strategist. Ariana's trauma becomes a connective thread that bonds her further to Cooper, solidifying alliances that will be vital in the chapters to come. Tommy's orchestration shows that leadership is more than authority. It's foresight, empathy, and the ability to anticipate consequences before they occur. While the corporate battles rage above ground and the legal storm threatens to dismantle lives, the finale subtly shifts focus to the quieter, yet equally compelling conflicts of family and personal growth. Aninsley's journey in this episode embodies the emotional heartbeat of Landman, a reminder that even amidst oil rigs, cartel money, and power plays, personal evolution shapes the fate of everyone involved. Aninsley is on the cusp of transformation. For much of the season, she has been sheltered, insulated by privilege, and the protective instincts of her parents. But college life, represented by her roommate Pagan and the intense physical and mental demands of their program, acts as a crucible. Pagan is skilled, disciplined, and unapologetically challenging, forcing Aninsley to confront her weaknesses, her fragile ankles, her tendency to rely on others, and her inexperience with real adversity. It's an uncomfortable awakening, but necessary. The humiliation she witnesses and at times endures is not just about embarrassment, it's a lesson in resilience. She begins to understand that life does not protect the unprepared, and that strength is forged through pressure, not comfort. This personal subplot intertwines with the larger narrative in surprising ways. Angela's reaction to Aninsley's challenges highlights the generational tensions that simmer beneath the surface. Watching her child struggle triggers a familiar pattern of anxiety and control, leading to a profound emotional moment where Angela realizes she cannot shield Aninsley from the world, or from mistakes. The finale uses these moments to show that survival, whether in the corporate oil world or in life's everyday trials, requires letting go, trusting judgment, and adapting to change. Meanwhile, Tommy's new venture, CTT, casts a long shadow over the family dynamic. His choices, though brilliant from a business perspective, create a ripple effect that tests loyalty, ambition, and trust. Every character feels the pressure differently. Cooper gains not only a leadership role but also immense responsibility. Rebecca steps into her power fully. Ariana navigates the aftermath of trauma. Nate balances ethics against ambition. And TL and Cheyenne embrace the physical labor that grounds CTT in reality. Each subplot reinforces the central theme of the season. Power and survival are inseparable, and family, by blood or by choice, determines how far you go. The finale's genius lies in how it blends the high-stakes corporate drama with the intimate personal arcs. As Aninsley learns to fend for herself, the audience senses a metaphor for Tommy's new venture. Just as Aninsley must navigate uncharted territory with courage and cunning, CTT steps into a volatile world where past allegiances, cartel money, and rival ambitions can either propel the company forward or destroy it entirely. The show balances tension and hope, illustrating that survival isn't just about brute force. It's about intelligence, preparation, and adaptability. By the closing scenes, the groundwork for Season 3 is unmistakable. Tommy's new company, while promising, is inherently fragile. Galino's investment brings both opportunity and danger. Cooper's leadership will be tested, and Rebecca's legal prowess will be called upon repeatedly as new threats emerge. The season finale ends not with finality, but with anticipation, a careful orchestration that transforms closure into a launchpad for the next chapter. In parallel, the personal arcs promise evolving dynamics. Aninsley's growth, Angela's reckoning with her role as a parent, and the subtle but persistent tensions among the supporting characters. These threads ensure that while the world of oil, power, and cartel influence remains central, the human element, relationships, choices, morality, continues to drive the story forward. The Season 2 finale succeeds because it balances resolution and suspense. Every plotline concludes sufficiently to provide satisfaction. Mtex collapses, CTT rises, Cooper survives the legal storm, and Aninsley takes her first steps into independence. Yet each resolution contains seeds of future conflict. The audience is left with a sense that the story is far from over, and that every victory comes with unseen risks and challenges. Ultimately, Landman Season 2 Episode 10 is more than a recap. It is a masterclass in layered storytelling. It weaves corporate intrigue, legal drama, and personal evolution into a cohesive narrative that is as suspenseful as it is emotionally resonant. The finale leaves viewers eager, anticipating, and fully invested in what comes next. A new season where power, family, and survival collide even more explosively than before.